This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, everybody. This is Tammy DeLu with the Safe Space Podcast. And those of you who know me have heard of my guest today. I'm especially excited because I've been following his channel for quite a long time. He goes by the moniker the economic ninja. It doesn't mean he sneaks up on you with all these things. As a matter of fact, the reason I got involved with the economic ninja anyway in the first place was because uh, I looked some other channels, and there's a lot of great preparation channels out there. Wouldn't you say? There's a
Yes,
lot
there's a lot.
there's a lot of great, really deep economy channels. There's a lot of deep state channels. There's a lot of things out there that can be very discouraging. But then I came across this guy, and I thought, like, he so embodies my being from the Bay Area, so embodies my vision of the SoCal dude. And
Nice.
and I mean, honestly, Ninja, you take the most depressing kind of news, and then at the end he spins it into, okay, this could be an opportunity for you.
It's the
You know,
it's the
this
doomiest, baby. Yeah.
it's the doomiest but no gloomiest, and so
Nope.
this is fun, and I really want Ninja to talk about how he started doing this and what his background is and how he came to know all these very interesting things, because I know a lot of what I do, just so he knows, is I work a lot with financial advisors. So, on the down low, they're telling me a lot of the things that you say, but they're afraid to have that heart to heart talk with their clients. They really don't know what to tell them when they say, do I get in crypto? Do I get out of the market? Do I buy an annuity and a coffee can full of silver? What am I doing? And so tell me a little bit how you got into this, and what do you do that gives you these insights? What do you do for a
Yeah, well,
real?
real quick, let's do this real quick. Let's address that because that's a great question. Because financial advisors, quite frankly, they have to be cheerleaders because they are not making money unless they're either selling you their prepackaged products that the company they work for sells, or if they're moving your money. Those are the two ways. So a lot of them are trapped, because they don't want to tell everything of how they feel because what their the ultimate would be is safe havens, and safe havens do not make financial advisors money because it usually gets locked up in vaulted gold and silver, things like that. So we can address that later. But yeah, how I got my start. So I've been an investor since I was right out of high school, or right out of, well, I tried college, let's say, for a couple of years, didn't really make it too well, and started investing in real estate. Became an accredited investor when I was young. I was around 25 years old. Made my first million in real estate. But where I really got my teeth sharpened was in stocks right before the tech bust. And I actually sold a large part of my portfolio right before the tech bust because I saw the warning signs. Then when I got into real estate, I saw the run up. I was a part of all that. It was exciting. But I sold all my real estate right before the crash. And when I say right before, I am actually referring to 2 years before everybody remembers that 2008 number. But really, the crash started when I was selling in mid 2005. So, sharpen my teeth there. I mean, I've been hustling and selling things, ever since I was in sixth grade, selling candy, making 40 bucks a day in junior high, to when I opened up my first store, which was a baseball card shop when I was a sophomore in high school. So I've got lots of experience. I've invested in everything from capital markets to oil exploration when we're actually forming an LLP and drilling for oil. I've been in crypto and all of those kind of things. So I've got a pretty well-rounded bit of experience, let's say, from investing myself. I'm also a real estate agent. I actually owned a real estate brokerage before I was even a licensed real estate agent, which is legal. I saw a lot of success there. So I've always done this weird thing where, I've come around the backside of how traditional wealth was created, where you think that, you have a name badge and you have a certificate or a degree and everyone thinks you know everything. I'm the guy that looked like I was an idiot that was actually behind the scenes crushing it, and sort of made my way that way.
Wow, and that is incredible, because to me, that is experience is absolutely the best teacher. And experience, for me, I've talked to a lot of different people over the years, and I wish that in school I had learned the kinds of things that I know now. I mean, at
Yep.
my age, it's sort of like you feel like you're stuck now because you got into that mindset. As you said, they told me, get a degree, get a degree, and I don't regret any of that, actually. I mean, I did get to travel. I lived overseas for a long time, and I got to see, though, that was the best for me. Ninja was being able to see how other people live and perceive things, because
Yep.
one of the things that you do so well in your videos on the Economic Ninja is that you also realize people are having a hard time
Yep.
processing things.
Yeah.
And I look around, and it's easy to want to get angry at people and say, don't you get it, don't you get it, don't you get it, you need to do this. But
Yeah.
I think people do get it, they just don't know what to do. And I'll give you a good example. This morning, before I recorded the show, I was in a major supermarket. Just, I always go in there and kind of scan, because you sort of see people at their most vulnerable in a
Yep.
supermarket. And
Yep.
I'm looking around, and people are looking devastated. They're looking empty. I don't know if you're experiencing that. We're here in California, it's a little worse.
Yeah. Let me tell you a story, actually. After the 2008 crash, I had obviously sold, well, I kept three properties, and those darn near almost took me out financially. It's a great story for another day, but I had already spent 2 years warning all of my family and friends, and I lost all of my friends except for two. And I was right. Their eye rolling and everything was wrong. I was right, right? But that didn't matter at all. They didn't care that I was right. As a matter of fact, when it was known that I was right, it even got worse. People regretted or uh, were upset with me even more, right? Well, I was walking. I remember telling my wife the day the 2008 crash, right when Lehman Brothers was going down, and Aaron Burnett's on CNBC crying. And it's so funny. I'll say that story, and people get on YouTube and they go, Ninja, you're wrong. Aaron Burnett's on a different show. And I go, well, no, you're wrong. That's the kind of history I have, because that's where she got her start. And I came home to my wife and said, it's happening. Within 6 months, all of our friends in the construction industry are going to lose their jobs. And they did. Well, I remember one day taking her to Walmart and saying, I want you to do this. I need you to learn this, because this is going to happen again, but on a bigger scale. I said, try and get someone in Walmart to look you in the eyes without saying anything. Just try. And so we walked around silently for about 15 minutes and watched. And I'm like, I want you to look at where they're looking down, they're looking sad, because they all knew something had happened. Everybody's wealth effect had been ripped away. And then I found a sign downtown where I live from the Downtown Owners Association. And I saw it in the main square, and then it was posted at all these different stores. And it said, if you are caught, this is in 2008, if you are caught talking negatively about the economy, we reserve the right as the Downtown Association to ask you to leave our store. And it just blew my
What?
mind. Yeah,
What?
real story. And somewhere I've got a photo of it with me standing next to it going, hey, look. And what's crazy is this is my third economic cycle. And a lot of people say, man, you're so upbeat and happy. And I said, well, you haven't experienced it yet, but I promise you, if you stick around long enough, I'm going to show you how to crush it in this economy. Because quite frankly, when we talk about getting prepared, preparedness is a lot of work. And it's a selfless act, because selfishness is like going out and getting your Louis Vuitton bag that you want, right? Because you deserve it. You don't deserve anything. I'm going to be honest with you. Most people don't deserve anything, except our inherent rights that we deserve, and we should always fight for those. But as far as like a Louis Vuitton bag or a Porsche or a mansion, you don't deserve it unless you are willing to go out and work hard for it. And literally, and a lot of people say, hey, look what I can afford. And well, you couldn't afford it, the bank affords it. I'm not saying you could just go run out and buy a house cash. What I'm saying is a big difference is someone that puts the minimum down and somebody that's got a good, well laid out plan and bought something nice, but it's because they either paid cash for it or they put a massive amount of down payment, and they've got all these plans on the back end. If something goes wrong and they lose their job, how they're not going to lose that asset, if that makes sense. So when you talk about hard times and preparing, most of the people that I was hanging out with had no idea that the millionaire was telling them this stuff. As a matter of fact, the truth is, and this is in true ninja style, this is really how I live my life. When I was selling, I had 14 homes I sold in 2005, 2006. None of my friends knew I had that many. They thought I had three. So I would never talk about it, right? Because I learned a valuable lesson way back in 2004 when I showed up to a winery and everybody had heard, this is the guy that's flipping houses and super successful, and everybody wanted to be my friend. And you got that gross feeling. All they wanted was your information. They didn't care about anything else about you except for they wanted to figure out a nugget how they could get rich. And it was that night at this winery that I decided I was going to live almost like not a hermit, but totally low key. And I was going to change my life. I aspired to be a millionaire and I wanted to drive the Ferrari, and I got to that point. But then when I saw how people treated you, it made me feel disgusting. So I said, let me be the quiet one, the one that doesn't look like the wealthy person. And then I will go out and try and help people with good information, truth, logic, those kind of things. And most people at that point cast it away. They didn't even care. And so that taught me right there, that's where I want to be. I want to be the millionaire next door that nobody knows about, but it's truly trying to help people.
And that is not only admirable, it's kind of safe if you think about it. I mean, like him or hate him, Warren Buffett has lived that way his entire life. We've all grown up with Warren Buffett. He's like so iconic, but he doesn't live a flashy lifestyle.
No.
Now, granted,
and well, you see the Oracle of Omaha, they call him, and you see him driving around I don't know if he's still driving a Buick or something like that, but and he gets more excited about an ice cream cone than sitting on a yacht. And I think that's a really neat way to live. And the truth is, with him, obviously everybody knows because he runs Berkshire Hathaway how successful and wealthy he is. But if he wasn't in the limelight, he'd probably be just as rich and he'd be living that same lifestyle.
Absolutely. And I think that, for him, success is his own satisfaction, just the success, being able to do these things. And he also knows that if he needed to, he could get himself out of a jam. And I think that's what you're trying to convey in your channel, from what I've seen, is that, okay, look, don't worry. We're not doing this to worry you, but you need to have some confidence you can get out of the jam. And what I see with you is like, okay, I've seen this before. It's not my first rodeo. I know exactly what needs to happen right here, right now. So you mentioned the financial advisors, and I want to get back to that because I do work with so many, and I also work doing marketing for real estate syndicators. So I have a background doing that as well. And I think there's some hesitancy in both of those groups to come on and tell it like it is. I mean, my first guest when I started this podcast was Scott Walters. Scott with he's a tell it like it is realtor. People are saying that he's crazy because it's like, Scott, you need to sell. This is not going to sell. This is not going to help you sell. So, what do you.
I've got something to say about that. I actually reached out to Scott when he had like a couple hundred subs, but I never heard back from him. And he's super busy. He's doing a great job. I own a brokerage, or owned one right next to pretty close to where he is. And we were crushing it in the beginning. And what happened is I started transitioning into real estate owned licensing. So I started getting specializing with now let me stop. I had a brokerage, and then I also worked as a real estate agent for the largest real estate brokerage in our area, in our county. As a matter of fact, it's one of the top ranked RE/MAXs in the country. Even at that point, I was looked at as a rookie real estate agent, which I was. Nobody, including the broker, knew that I owned my own brokerage. All right. Which ironically, in the first 6 months did like $60 million in transactions with just 3 of us. All right. So that's on a scale that's pretty large for a new brokerage. Especially with just 3 people, right? But this whole massive office of clients had no idea, first off, that I was a real estate a professional dating back to 2001, right? The way the IRS sees it. They don't remember, the broker didn't even remember when he hired me that I was the one that came in and said the market's collapsing in 2007. He laughed in my face. Then they didn't even know that I had a brokerage, right? So there was this weird little parallel. Well, the broker comes in one day and he goes, "What are you doing? Like, why aren't you selling?" And I had one listing, and I said, "Well, and I have to pay for my space rent, right?" And I'm like, I'm getting set up as an REO specialist." So what the heck's your problem? This is a hot market. This is actually in 2019, because I sold my house in 2018 because there was issues there. I took my money and bought Bitcoin and silver with it, and I sat down and I said, "Let's start getting ready for the crash." Well, successful people look years, even decades ahead, like wealthy people. Speculators, people that try and get rich quick and always fall on their face, and I was one of them for so long, they look a couple months ahead. All right. And so I started getting in with all these banks. And if you could see, and I'm obviously not working as a real estate agent anymore, I've taken a different path towards education, but my box is booked, is packed with foreclosures, like pending foreclosures as they're trying to get rid of, go through all these forbearances. And he pretty much, he didn't kick me out, but he was like, you're useless. Like, you're not hungry enough. And I'm like, man, if you only knew my balance sheet, you'd probably be sitting down having a totally different conversation. But that's how these real estate agents are. They're always cheerleaders, sell, sell, sell. And it depends. Doesn't matter what market you're in. You have eternal cheerleaders in this industry, and it's really sad because most of them can't even balance their own checkbook, let alone buy their own home, like on a percentage basis of real estate agents. And so
Sell
it
the
was just a
dream,
really
sell
interesting
the
thing.
dream, right?
Yeah.
Sell
And
the dream.
so you want to, yeah. And with Scott, Scott's great. And they always say a broken clock's always right twice. Well, let me give you another analogy. Economic cycles happen every 7 to 10 years, and then major cycles happen every 50 to 100 years. We're ironically in a convergence of a 50 and 100-year cycle right now where everything is imploding. Like, this is really, really bad. And you can laugh and say you're right only twice a day, but that twice a day that you're right on a magnitude of 100 if you're prepared for it. And so all the people that laugh, cool, they laughed all throughout the roaring 20s until they didn't laugh. They laughed all the way through the early 2000s until they didn't laugh. And ironically, I literally just watched some coworkers of mine all lose 25% of their 401ks in the last 90 days. And you know who's not talking right now? All of them. 25%.
Wow.
Whoop, gone. Now that's just a bear market trigger. That's just a correction. We're going into a correction right now. But wait until people like Ray Dalio and all these billionaires are right, because they say the next correction is 80 to 90%. And they are completely right. That is happening. I believe it starts in 2022. So yeah, it's great knowing people are out there like Scott, they're pounding the pavement and they're saying, hey, this is reality. I'd rather sell less right now because I'd rather be the guy that was right. Because the guy that's right, you're going to get the best kind of clients later on.
You feel like Noah sometimes? Like, yeah.
Yes, I do. And it's funny because I started preparing for this crash in 2010. And at one point, I actually did the math on Noah's life and how long he took to build the ark. And as of this last year, the same percentage of my lifetime, as old as I am, is the same percentage of Noah as he was building the ark. So yes, I actually do understand that. And that's another thing. There are a lot of people that go to church or that are, really super smart, they, at least in their own mind, than other people. And they say, oh, you're full of FUD and all this stuff. I'm like, let me give you an example. Or I'm blessed. That's another big thing that gets thrown out there. I'll tell you what, if Noah decided one day not to build the ark, you know what would have happened? He would have been part of all the people dying. You have to one day decide, like, I'm going to do something about this, because it's called responsibility. We're given our inherent rights of freedom, but it actually costs something. It's like all of the great men and women that have died or served our country for our freedoms. It takes action. We just don't get those rights because somebody, for every right you think you have, someone wants to take it away. And it's very, very important to realize that. And it takes hard work. And I am not going to sit around and enjoy, be fat, dumb, and happy on the hard work and the sacrifice of other people's lives that built our country to where we are right now.
And that is beautifully said. And like, there are so many elements to what's going on right now that, I mean, I could pick your brain all day. And I know, you're super busy, and I just appreciate this time that we've had. But I'm looking at as you said, the convergence of many different things. And I'm a history buff. So I recognize these things. It's not anything new. What's happening now is not anything new. But I think what is new is everything happening at once. We're all used to unraveling slowly, like a piece of yarn, off a sweater. But now what is happening is just people are overwhelmed, I believe. Even people who are smart and get it, it can be very
Yeah.
overwhelming.
So let's talk about that, because right now what we're experiencing is what's called a super cycle. A super cycle actually brings in multiple events at one time. In 2007, 2008, I was talking about the perfect storm back then with my family and friends, because I said, look, we have accelerating fuel prices. We have home sales that are slowing down because interest rates are coming up, and they were coming up for a while at the exact same time home prices were coming up. So in 2008, or in late 2007, home sales were starting to stall, right? At the same time, with those additional fuel prices coming up, I was like, this is the perfect storm. And so we had actually three: the interest rates, we had oil and gas prices rising across the country, and then we had still extendedly high home prices. So back then I was like, this is why, that as they converge, people are going to get scared. They're going to stop spending. It's going to cause a deleveraging event or a deflationary event. What we have now is a super cycle, just like when, the planets align a certain way with certain stars, and it really does affect the world. And if people don't understand how that works, they're very seriously confused, because just like the moon, when it hits a certain cycle, every day it pulls the oceans out and then it pushes them in, right? Just the power of the moon. We are like, I don't remember, 90% water. It has the exact same effect on us, right? Well, when you look at these bigger cycles of magnetism and things like that, and then geopolitical events and inflation and the war cycles and all that stuff, and it puts all this pressure on human beings, they act out in a certain way. And so we're seeing that right now with all this pressure that's being put on us. As a matter of fact, I think the word tribulation, one of the definitions is actually just pressure. People don't understand that, and they don't know what it feels like, but they know something's wrong, and it causes them to act a certain way. So this is a super cycle. And quite frankly, and give an example, it's the first time in 50 years that the stock market and the bond market have gone into correction at the same time. So just that alone in the last 90 days was spectacular for someone like me to watch.
I think Ludwig von Mises was termed it a crack boom. And that's what I wrote an article about, a crack boom, when it's everything at one time, and everything is interconnected. That's part of the issue too, is that 100 years ago we were very self-sufficient in this country. We were very resilient. I know that's an overused term, but we were. My grandparents, what they called organic food was just food, because they didn't have a lot of the additives and stuff like that. A lot of things were different then, but we weren't a consumer nation. We were a producer nation. This time, this crack boom is completely different, because we have, the only thing that we make now is phone apps and debt. I mean, that I can tell.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem.
You're 100% right, but it's actually also an amazing opportunity. And is probably a good time to end, because I do have an interview coming up, but I want to explain this. Because like you said, I try and really bring the positive side. When there's a crash, more money's made during hard times than good times. All right. During good times, everybody seems to flourish. Some flourish more than others because they were there earlier. So on a percentage basis, they make more wealth. But during a downtime, a few people have the spoils, because all the people that either didn't see it coming or they ignored it, they lose everything and they have to sell their stuff. And there is amazing opportunities in stocks, bonds, real estate, literally just stuff, buying cars, buying, Legos. I don't care what you think. You can make amazing fortunes at any level of wealth, right? Well, this one that's coming is going to be so great. It sounds funny, but like, I have money in stocks, I have money in crypto, right? Well, I've obviously lost a lot of my net worth in just the last 90 days. And a lot of people go, well, if you knew it was going to come, why wouldn't you sell? I said, it sounds funny because I don't know what day it's going to come, right? None of us have a crystal ball. So I always save up cash. So as things come down, I use that cash position to buy more of the assets I believe in. But this next thing that's coming, there's going to be so many opportunities. And when we talk about manufacturing in this country, as opposed to others, we're about to be cut off from China. China is going to be moving into Taiwan, I believe, literally soon, like within 2022. That's going to devastate our markets long term. And that is an incredible opportunity to bring manufacturing back to our country, have people start businesses. And I'm actually working on a course right now, how important it is to start your own business, how you start a business, all that kind of stuff, how to flip things. Because when you have it, one guy told me, a gentleman a long time ago, he said, it's not about how much money you have during the crash. It's as long as you have more than the other guy, because everything's going to fall in value for a certain point of time. And that is true. In 2008, when the Great Recession was kicking off, even paper gold and silver sold off. Now the physical coins still cost the same amount because of premiums. But if you think about it, everything was going down in value back then. So it's all about securing as much wealth as you can as we get to the bottom, and then using that wealth to buy up everything else. If that makes sense.
And that's perfect. And I hope that the financial advisors that are listening will get some courage and have the talk with their clients. And if some of your clients push back, that's okay. You've got to find the people who are willing to listen and to take active steps. And I wish that you had 4 hours, because there's so much here. And there's even, like, to me, there's a spiritual element going on here too, which is something nobody's talking about, because there's some bad things going on in the world. So anyway, I want to thank the Economic Ninja for all the stuff he does. And there's a reason that your followers are well over 200,000 now.
Well, it's definitely God. This channel is definitely blessed. I'll tell you that much.
You can find him on Twitter. What's the handle there? Just at Economic Ninja?
Economy Ninja. No, it's at Economy Ninja. There's actually an Economic Ninja, but I wasn't able to grab it in time. So I have at Economy Ninja.
And then on YouTube, you can find him on his channel, Economic Ninja, and along with a bunch of amazing predictions, all of which have come true, I think. So anyway, thank you so much for taking the time, and I will definitely keep promoting you and what you do, because I think it's so crucial. So God bless you. And
Thank you. God bless you.
We'll be back again, because I want to get some more stuff from you. You know, I want to pick that brain, that Brohawk. I want to lift the Brohawk up, get into the brain. So listen, you guys,
thank you.
You have a great meeting coming up, and we'll talk again. Thank you so much.
All right. See you later.